Well, here's another quick one. Astronomy, oceanography, biology. How about meteorology? We like weather here. Great weather here in Oklahoma. It's exciting. Meteorology is the study of our atmosphere. A few hundred years ago, it was found out that the air above us has weight. I mean, they thought that guy that discovered that was crazy. They said, "You mean there's nothing there? What do you mean it has weight? You know, you can't see air, you can't feel air." This scientist said it has weight. Listen to what the oldest book in the Bible says, Job 28. You might want to write down meteorology, Job 28, 24, and 25. He looks to the ends of the earth, and he sees under the whole heavens. Verse 25, he establishes a weight for the wind, and he apportions the waters by measure. Meteorology. The air has weight. God said so to Job 4,500 years ago. But he doesn't stop there. The water cycle, which is a part of hydrology, and hydrology is the study of the water cycle of the earth, how water circulates from the ground and the seas to the air and back again. And the scriptures explicitly document this fact. That's why some of the early scientists were Bible believers, and I think that they kind of got their discovery vein in place by reading the Bible and saying, you know, it says that, let me see it. I know if God says it must be there. And some of these early scientists were ardent believers. But it says in Ecclesiastes 1:7, all rivers run into the sea, yet the sea is not full. Unto the place from whence the rivers came, thither they return. You get it? It rains in the mountains. It runs down the river. The river goes into the ocean. The ocean gets full of water. It condenses and comes over the land and precipitates. You get it? That's hydrology. How about Job 36? As it talks in Job 36, 27, and 28 about evaporation, condensation, vapor clouds, and precipitation. That's the elements of hydrology. Listen to Job. Job 36:27. God, He, draws up drops of water, which distill as rain from the mist, which the clouds drop down and pour abundantly on man. That didn't enter the scientific textbooks until about 300, 400 years ago. And they called it hydrology. I call it God knows what He's talking about. Psalm 135:7, He causes the vapors to ascend from the ends of the earth. He makes lightning for the rain. He brings wind out of His treasuries. Job 26:8, He binds up the water in His thick clouds, yet the clouds are not broken under it. Job 28:10 and 11, He cuts out channels in the rock. His eyes see precious things. He dams the streams from trickling. What is hidden, He brings forth to light. God controls the hydrological cycle. Now this one, don't faint, but how about isostasy? You ever heard of isostasy? Probably haven't heard it in school lately. They don't cover it. Isostasy is a brand new study of the rotational balance that's on our planet. And what happened is they started studying earthquakes, and they wanted to predict earthquakes, and so they had to study all about the earth and its balance and what would shift it. And so they started a whole science called isostasy. And they found out that there is a global relationship between the heights of the mountains and the depths of the oceans. And so in their study of earthquakes, they discovered all this, and they said that in order for the earth not to wobble as it's rotating, there has to be a balance between mountains and oceans. Listen to Isaiah 40 and verse 12, written 600 years before Christ, 2,600 years ago. Who has measured the waters in the hollow of His hand? Who has measured the heaven with a span and calculated the dust of the earth in a measure and weighed the mountains in scales and the hills in balance? You know, that's cute poetry, but you know what? It also is talking about the reality that God says, I have balanced the water and the mountains. And scientists didn't even know they needed to be balanced until in the last century. And they found out that there is a very delicate balance. And that when God moves all the islands out of their place and when He causes the earthquakes in the tribulation time, the whole planet is going to get out of balance. And what you're seeing in the tribulation is the whole planet is going into a death spin. And the oceans are covering the land, and everything gets mixed up, and it's the final judgment. How about this? Isostasy, you thought that was good. How about geodesy? Geodesy is the study and shape and size of the gravitational forces of our planet. And although science has always thought up until about the 17th century that the earth was flat, in fact, everyone thought it was flat, God always said it was round. Did you know that? even though the Roman Catholic Church, didn't appreciate, some of the early scientists that said it was round, the Bible always said it. Number one, the Bible says the earth rotates. That means it turns on an axis. And in 1400, that fact was absent on the planet until the year 1400. The thinkers of the day said the earth was flat. In fact, the Hindu Bible affirms that the earth is flat and it rests on the back of elephants. But God says in Job 38:14 that the earth takes the form of clay under his seal. You say, well, what does that mean? We'll go over to the museum, the Philbrook, and the first exhibit in their antiquities thing has clay to seals. And you know what it is? It's a little thing. It looks like a roll of toilet paper, and it's got a stick through it. And you would go like this, and you'd roll it. And that's how you'd sign your name. You'd stick your stick through your little seal, and you'd go like that. And you know what it says? The earth turns like the clay to the seal. What does it do? It rotates. It turns like this. You say, that doesn't say it's round. I know, that's in another verse. In Job 26:7, he stretches the north over empty places, the earth hangs upon nothing, Isaiah 40:22, and it is he who sits above the sphere of the earth, the circle of the earth, Isaiah 40, verse 22. So you know what God says about geodesy? He says the earth is round, and it rotates on an axis, and it hangs on nothing. No elephants when they twitch, causing earthquakes, which is what the Hindus believed. That's what the Bible says. 4,500 years before science found it out. Geology, Job 38:4-6. Where were you when I laid the foundation of the earth? Who laid the measures? The foundations are fastened and the cornerstone thereof. And all the way through Job it talks about the layers of the earth and how God put it together.